Welcome to this Wednesday's 3 Good Minutes. Today I'm talking about, actually what I want to do is re-examine the story of the widow's mite. Recently I revisited the story told in Mark's Gospel, chapter 12, verses 41 to 44 that we call the widow's mite. Now a mite in biblical times was the smallest and least valuable unit of currency. Well, let me read the story to you again as if for the first time. He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, "Truly, I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on." Now, you've probably heard a number of sermons preached on this story in your time, and usually the take-home lesson was something like, God values the heart, sacrifice, and intent behind giving over the sheer amount donated. And we elevate the story of true selfless giving because the widow was an exemplar of total devotion and trust in God. And that's all certainly true, but it is just a basic reading of the text that's just in front of our faces and does not involve the context of the biblical canon, the larger context of Jesus' ministry, or even the local context of the story. In that local and larger context, we can also read the story of the widow's mite as a critique of injustice. The story comes immediately after Jesus criticizes religious leaders for devouring widows' houses. Nuanced in our story today is Jesus' lament on exploitation rather than just praise for her generosity. In this view, his lament exposes how a corrupt system compels the vulnerable to sacrifice their livelihood. Seen this way, the widow in this story is not simply giving, she is being conditioned by a corrupt religious system to donate her last resources. The temple, which should have protected her, was instead taking from her. Our application is that the true church must protect the poor, not perpetuate systems of oppression where people are left in poverty by the system. Note that not only does the story appear after Jesus criticizes the religious leaders for taking widows' homes and livelihoods under the guise of piety, but right after it, Jesus predicts the temple's destruction, which also has to do with systemic exploitation of people. This is known to scholars as a Markan sandwich, a literary technique where one story, the filling, in this case the widow's mite, is inserted into the middle of another, the bread. Mark employs 9 such sandwiches in his gospel, which serve to interpret the surrounding or outer narrative using the inserted inner story. The take-home message for us is not only to prompt us to Bible reading that takes into account a wider context, but also Jesus' call for structural change. Read more carefully, our Bible in its entirety serves as a mandate to examine it serves us a mandate to examine and dismantle systems that exploit the vulnerable today rather than simply encouraging the poor to give more. While the widow's action demonstrates an admirable total trust in God, Jesus' reaction highlights his lament over the injustice that forced her to such a point of desperation. Let us take that to heart. Amen.